Hi folks, welcome back. Well, got a bit of spare time today, so we'll get this front cover cleaned up and get the old mastic from the other day off. Now that it's dried, it's easy to get off. It's a bit of a fiddly job, time consuming, so I've just stuck you in fat forward and I'll just scrape away and clean it up. Like everything else, I'm a plumber, I know the script with this stuff. Silicon doesn't stick to silicon, so you've got to get rid of all the silicon, because all residue, if you don't get rid of all the residues, it literally will not stick. It just sits on top. Anyway, and with that, there's Simba sitting in the background there, admiring what's going on. Nah, funny stuff. Anyway, the snap bolt saga. So I went to local company, fasteners and fixings and stuff, a company called AITCH in Blackpool. Highly recommended for nuts, bolts, tools, any other odds and sods that you may be looking for. So took the bolts in and basically confirmed what I thought. He said exactly the same thing. They're crap. So anyway, didn't have a like for like, but in all truthfulness, I didn't really want a like for like, because I can't stand these Torx bolts, because no matter how good your Torx bit is, they never seem to sit right. So anyway, I just got a standard hex bolt of the same tensile strength and metal. So going to renew all the bolts with washers, and I've got some other bolts for a couple other bolts that we seem to have gone amiss. Got them sorted out, but just going to run the bolts in to the threads, just to clean the threads out, stick a wee bit of WD-40 cutting compound in, just to clean any crap that's in the bolt holes, just in case. Let's see if I can run the bolts in to the hill, know that everything's clear, then I know I've no problems. So I can then gunk up the front case again. As I say, WD-40 cutting compound, it's good stuff actually. In a spray. It's a right good lubricating cutting oil. So again, there's 11 bolts there. So rather than messing about, just stick one fast forward, get it done, get it out of the road. As I say, it was just finished work a wee bit earlier today, so I just decided to put the time in and stick a wee bit before my tea. I had other things to do tonight, so I'm going to get back to it the weekend. Here's the dog making his usual appearance. Seems to know when the camera's running. RTB silicon. This actually came with the timing chain kit, head gasket kit. So it's got a couple of nozzles in it. I prefer to use the little short one. So get that prepped up. Comes with one of these like a corned beef can key that you stick on the end of the tube. Makes it easier to squeeze the tube out, so you don't leave any behind type thing. It's not that I need that much. You go, little key on the end of the tube, and you just roll it, and that's how you squeeze it. This is a bit of the job that requires a steady hand. Just as well, I had a bottle of wine last night. My hands are nice and steady. Secret with silicone is to try and get it in one continuous bead if you can, because that's generally where the silicone falls down, is the joints between your beads. If you don't get them to actually join up as you like, because sometimes you end up with that little gap just between them. So try and get as much as a continuous bead as you possibly can. I found that through experience over the years of silicone in baths and shower screens and stuff like that. Any failures that you get always seem to be where you stopped and then started again. You very rarely get a failure on a continuous bead. So, worth noting. Anyway, it's one of them. It's really disappointed with this BMW stuff. Never owned one, never liked them, and it was just, I liked the idea of the club van, and I don't know, it's just everything I've touched on this vehicle, it's fought me the whole way. It's been a nightmare to get parts for. It's been a nightmare to work on. I just hope the driving experience is worth it, because this vehicle has basically fought me from day one. From arriving on the driveway, it's basically caused me problems. But anyway, fingers crossed it's all going to be worthwhile, and it's all going to be, when I get it back together and get it in the car, and it's going to be a nice drive, and it can be used as a nice service vehicle for my business. As well as a nice addition to some mini shows. So get this done and dusted and out the road, and then we can get back on with the 30, which I'm itching to get started on this welding. Set. Steady hand, make sure you get everything coated. There's a dog back having a wee mooch about. There we go. There's a little tab in the centre there. I wasn't 100% sure whether it actually needed any gasket thin me on it, but I'll just put some on it anyway, just in case. I was hoping there would be a I just sealed it with a. Just remembered I've got to take the sump off. I just put the sump on last weekend when I was working on it, because I wanted to drop it down onto the trolley just in case the ram from the engine lift, because I knew I wasn't going to get back to it until this weekend, just in case the ram sort of lost its hydraulic pressure and came down. That would have not went down very well had it brought the engine down on top of the new oil pump after waiting all this time for it. But anyway, I stuck 4 bolts in just to hold the sump up. It's no sealed or anything like that. It was so I just got to drop it down and take it off, because you've got to put the front cover on first before you put the sump on, because they basically sandwich into it. So let's get the sump off, and then we can get this front cover on. Simba going for a wander, I think. She went and pestered the missus to let her take her out. Yep. So out they go. I'll move the cover out the road so it doesn't get covered in Simba hair. And get back to it. Now this is one fiddly little job. Normally just bang a cover on, it's okay. But because it goes over the crank here at the end, it's got an oil seal on it which folds over the pulley. And it is one absolute nightmare to get on. So much so I couldn't get it on with my gloves on. So off go the gloves. So let's get covered in mastic. As I say, the oil seal sort of has got a lot of fold, and you've got to fold it over the pulley while you put the front cover on. It is one fiddly effing job, especially when everything's covered in high temperature silicone and you're trying not to touch the faces against anything. Anyway, it is what it is. It's on. It's done. Let's hold it there and put a couple of holding bolts just to sort of hold it in place while I get my shit together. I used to have patience for these things. Must be a sign of old age. I've no patience for F all nowadays. Anyway, let's get these bolted up. As I say, I've just put a couple of bolts in there now, and just to hold it in place. And then I'll go and get the washers, and we'll bolt and washer it up, and then torque it up to the proper torque settings. And hopefully this time there's a couple of little locating dowels, so just tapping them in, make sure that they're home. And we'll get the washers. And we've got a little bag of washers that H gave me. The reason I'm using washers is because the original bolts were flanged and the new ones aren't, so we're just using a washer to replicate the flange. So, let's see, there's 11 bolts, we'll bang them in and then get them topped up. Let the silicone go off, and I'll maybe put the sump on tomorrow. It's moving on. Let's say we'll get this done, let it set overnight, and depending on what time I finish tomorrow, maybe get back on it tomorrow and maybe get the top end. Well, we'll get the sump on anyway, and maybe start getting the top, the rocker cover and inlet manifold and stuff like that on, and the turbo and all that back together, and get the engine maybe ready to drop in midweek. Or maybe even Sunday, you never know. I'd say it'll definitely take longer to put in than what it did to take out. Oh, I see daylight from behind me. Here comes the beast. The beast is back. I'm glad somebody loves me. Say the next mission, as I say, is get the sump back on, but I also want to re-tap the threads for the oil cooler. If you remember back from my previous video, same thing, I had a bolt strip on the oil cooler. So what I actually done when I went to H the other day, I got a slightly longer bolt, because I noticed that after I'd stripped it, there was a substantially longer thread than the bolt. So I've just got a slightly longer bolt, and hopefully I can re-tap into the other thread sort of thing, and use the longer bolt, which will secure the oil cooler in place. But that's another issue that hopefully we can resolve over the weekend. I'm still not loving this. I don't know what it is, I just don't like alloy engines. I mean, good old pig iron. You do what you want to, but you know what I mean? These new bloody alloy things with their 5 Newton meter torque settings and 10 Newton meter torque settings. I mean, you sneeze while you're tightening something up and it strips the thread. I don't know, I just don't see the... Yeah, I know it's lightness, I know it's... Right, but anyway, I've put the bolts in, I've gave them a quick nip just with the ratchet. I've now went and got the torque wrench, and it's set at 15 Newton meters. So I'll give each of the bolts sort of a 2 flats. So you can remember that there's RTV silicone there, so you've got to spread the silicone first before you're actually going to torque your bolts. Because you'll be amazing how much resistance there is with this RTV silicone. The problem with trying to do this on your own when it's on the engine crane, the engine just swings about. You're trying to hold the torque wrench and hold the engine at the same time. Anyway, torque wrench set. Click, click, click. Yep. So it's a bit disconcerting when you've already snapped a bolt. It's a bit disconcerting when you sort of when you get sort of 7 bolts that click on the torque wrench. I'm just going to check in my torque wrench just to make sure it is actually. There you go. As I say, I think it's just because obviously the RTV silicone continues to expand and spread as you tighten up, and you get that spread that 1 minute you've got your 15 Newton meters, and then the next time you go and check it, it goes and tightens a wee bit more because obviously the silicone below has spread, so it's no longer tight, is it? But as I say, when you've already snapped a bolt in it, it gets a bit. But that's it. All the bolts are tight. I'll give them another wee. I'll clean off the excess silicone that's oozing out from behind the. And I'll give them one last check. Anyway, that's how the bolts torqued up. Front casing back on. So we've got just the top bolts, which are actually part of the head. So we'll put them in. I see this is the sump. Just give that a blow out with the. See, I was going to put it on now, and then I thought myself I better actually leave it just in case. Don't want to put additional pressure coming from the opposite direction. I'll let the RTV silicone set, and I'll put the sump on tomorrow when I finish work. So I'll just put the head bolts in. There's 5 bolts round the top of the head, they're not to do with the actual head side of it. It's I think they just sort of help hold the front cover on and tie the front case to the head. It's only four bolts. I'm saying 5. No, 5. Yeah, there's 5. 2 at the side, 2 at the front, and 1 at the far rear. So just bob them down. Same again, 15 Newton meters again. It's just, I don't know where they actually do it, to be honest. But anyway, as I say, it's one of them. I'm at the end of the battery. Get them topped down, sort them out, and depending on when I get back tomorrow, I might just get on with it and get the sump on, and maybe get that oil cooler done as well. And as I say, see where we get to. Fingers crossed and get as much of it done as possible. Hope you liked the wee video. If you did, give us a wee like and a subscribe, and hopefully I'll get a lot of bits done at the weekend. Thanks for watching. Ta-ra.